I want to get this next topic in before Zach joins us because Zach will have some interesting insight on it. But before we switch topics, a quick reminder that Supply House is a proud sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHNFL5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Guys, we saw the Browns trade Joe Flacco and Greg Newsome this week. There's no indication that Andrew Berry is done. Two names that have been rumored to be potentially up next on the trade block for Cleveland is David Njoku and Shelby Harris. If those are the two candidates before we expand it to somebody else, Jay, do you think either will be traded, or do you think this roster is now essentially set for the rest of the season?
I don't know about the market for Shelby Harris, but I would be shocked if David Njoku is here after the trade deadline. He plays a position that I think we all agree we have found his successor in Harold Fannin. And I know I said that yesterday on Channel 3, and I was in a conversation with Nick Camino, and Camino said, wow, after a touchdown pass in a couple games, I believed that Harold Fannin was the heir apparent before he ever put on a Browns helmet. Before the draft, I said that I hope this is the guy I hope they draft. And I believe that he is going to be and will have a better career than Njoku has had if he can stay healthy. So I don't know what value it does to have two decent tight ends. And I know that Kevin loves the tight ends, and that's pretty much all we throw to. I get that. But we can finish last with David Njoku, and we can finish last without David Njoku, and we're going to get nothing for him if he walks at the end of the year. So let's see what value he has. I think he's a good player. I really do. I think he does have value. I don't know about Harris, but I'd be shocked if Njoku is still here.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on Njoku. It's the Greg Newsome situation all over again, where guys in the last year of his deal, and you're going to try and get what you can for him. I don't think, because he's in the last year of his deal, I don't think you're going to get a ton for him.
He's a rental for 1 year.
Yeah, but the way that the Browns operate is when they believe in guys, they don't let them get to the final year of the deal. They extend them before that. Mm-hmm. And we saw that going back with Miles the first time, going back with Nick Chubb. When they've got a guy that they like, they lock him up. And who were they not sure on? Baker. What happened to him? He was gone.
Yeah.
They weren't sure on Greg Newsome. He got to live his final year. What happened with him? Now he's gone. So Njoku already has one extension here, but he's getting a little bit older. I do think Kevin Love's running two tight end sets. That's the only thing that gives me pause. But I think if David was in their long-term plans, I think he'd already be signed beyond this year. And the fact he's not tells me, that's very possible. I don't think Harris has a ton of value, but, I mean, why would you keep him?
Yeah, there's no need to keep him.
But
I'm with you. I don't know. What are you going to get? A sixth? A seventh?
Yeah, some conditional late pick.
So after the news broke with Greg Newsome, it was in the middle of the night a little bit, and I woke up and I had I'm like, man, I got all these DMs and tweets, man. And a couple of people, there are a couple of names that they are Browns players, they're active. They said, this is a bigger trade than you think. And I said, it's Greg Newsome. We knew he wasn't on he was on the 5th-year option. He said, people's taking it a little difficult. And then Ashley Bastock, I think, came out with an article yesterday and talked about Denzel Ward and how Denzel Ward took it very difficult. He even went as far as to say he shed some tears about it. And the article talked about how Greg was one of the positive forces in the locker room and a very positive, we laugh about the celebrations, but you always got to have a guy that is always doing that type stuff. And I think on paper, if you was just looking at it specifically through analytics, you can squint and say, okay, I get what you're doing, because you have a situation where a guy, you're not going to pay him the money. You have another guy that you already have under contract in Tyson Campbell who's going to come in. They've already paid him the majority of his money.
Correct.
Yeah. You have a guy under asset.
It makes great financial sense.
The only thing that you would think a little bit, and I'm glad Zach Jackson is here, is because when you decide to pull the trigger and go on the youth movement, right, you need veterans to keep that thing going because you're signaling this thing could get a little more ugly. And the thing I'm worried about is Flacco leaves, and obviously, they said with the quarterback situation, but the defense is the heartbeat of what you guys are trying to do.
Well, you've got Denzel, you've got Miles.
You got Denzel.
Plenty of veteran leadership.
You've got Denzel and Miles, but the thing that was alarming to me was the fact that Denzel was that shaken by the fact that one of his guys, now you got to think, Martin Emerson's out, the defensive back group is really solidified.
Yep.
Now, you can handle that in a vacuum, but now you go back and if we trade David Njoku, now that's another inspirational type guy. And the only thing I'm worried about is once the losses pile up, and we've all said that this is going to be one of those years, when those losses pile up, you don't want this thing to turn into a circus. You don't want this thing to people start talking, people start checking out.
You like the Big Tent.
Listen, as far as me, I'm the tent master, so I'm going to orchestrate it the best way I can. It's up to them.
I mean, honestly, though, I know what you're saying, but how bad can it get? We were 3-14 last year.
It's a valid point. What you're making is absolutely valid. Guys are going to be upset, but this is the NFL. You can be upset on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Sunday, it's time to go play.
Yeah, put it behind you and
I'll
play.
even go. I'll go back to the Guardians trade, the Savali Manzardo trade that did not go over well in the clubhouse because they were lingering on contention, and a lot of guys were upset by that. In hindsight, it was 1,000% the right move.
Great move.
So you can't worry in the moment. You can't worry if guys are going to be upset if you think it's benefiting the long-term value of the team, particularly in a situation like this where this team is going nowhere. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have conversations with guys. You better have conversations.
Right. Talk them off the ledge.
If Denzel's upset, it's not Kevin, it's Andrew Berry. Berry needs to come down and have a conversation with Denzel about that and hear him out. And again, that's the beauty of the NFL. It's one game a week. You can be upset all week. Get it out of your system. And then, but when it
know
comes
what
Sunday,
cures
it's time
all of
to
that?
play.
You can go out and win. And I'm going to give away a little bit. At the beginning of the show, I talked about something happened last night that gave me a little bit of pause. And I want to stress a little bit of pause. As I'm watching the Giants, who are the NFC version of us in the last decade, as I'm watching them last night figure it out with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back, that's our blueprint. We now have a rookie quarterback at the helm who didn't start the season but is playing now, and we have a rookie running back that I think we all agree is him. So I'm watching the Giants to start the game, and when I turned it on, I go, this will be interesting. What do you got, 25 points, 30 points? And then all of a sudden, you just watch this young group before your eyes start to get confidence in and believe in themselves. It was interesting because they had to call on Russell Wilson for 2 plays when Dart had to run to the 10. And in 2 plays, he was booed. The entire stadium booed him. And here's why they booed him. Oh, we've seen that. We know what that looks like. And now we've seen Jackson Dart for a few games, and we're in love with it. It reminds me of what Baker did when he came in against the Jets. That team is invigorated. And the reason I say there's only one way they don't trade Njoku, what if they go to Pittsburgh and do to them what the Giants did to Philly? Pittsburgh's not as good a team as Philly. I'm not sure the Giants are that much better than the Browns. But if they go into Pittsburgh Sunday and do something that they haven't done in 22 years, and DG balls out, and we look like the Giants last night, all of a sudden the Giants were 1-3 coming into that game. Now they're in the midst of the division race. And the Browns would be too.
If my barber said that, he said, what if they win? I said, I would give a lot of credit to Kevin Stefanski.
Holding it together.
I would give him credit. You had trades. There was a lot of talk. I would give credit to Dylan Gabriel for doing something that no other quarterback has done. Now we just got to see it.
I know, and that's why I said it gives me a little bit of pause.
Right. Now
See,
you
what
won a little bit.
What I saw was the blueprint. I saw a bad team with a rookie quarterback and rookie running back beat a Pennsylvania team that's historically very good. Won the Super Bowl last year.
And the Giants hadn't beat the Eagles on primetime in 11 tries. The Browns haven't beaten the Steelers in Pittsburgh in the regular season since 2003. We're going to